Good afternoon, I'm Bill Ulivieri.
And Matt Berrafato.
We are here to discuss the final third of life. We are on episode 8.
Episode number 8.
Episode number 8, crazy.
So, it was funny. Bill came up with he wanted me to talk about an area that is near and dear to my heart. It's really near and dear to both our hearts. But one of the arenas that we operate in is our career arena.
Yes.
And right away you think career arena, oh, that's where I do, that's my job, that's my business, that's what I do. And I say, no, let's think about it. If you're a student in school, your career is school, okay? Once you graduate and you get a job, now your career is that job. And it might be, and it's going to morph into many different things. Then you get to the end of close to the final third, and then you might retire and stop working, but then what's your career? Well, you're still going to do something, okay? So what is it that you're going to do? And I always like to say is, my biggest question for people who are retiring is saying, well, now that you don't even need to make money anymore, what are you going to do with your time? And a lot of times, if you get the deer in the headlights, they don't know.
Right.
And that's scary. That's a scary place to be.
Yeah, I think one thing that gives me a lot of encouragement, I think, Matt, of this generation is, again, growing up, retirement in the old days meant you get a gold watch. Maybe you buy a Lazy Boy recliner with a stick shift handle, and you just sit in front of the TV and watch movies, and you just relax because you work so hard. And now, at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're at Northbrook Court or you're at Woodfield Mall, and you see people walking laps. They look retired, or maybe that's just their exercise program, is to just walk laps at the local mall. So the concept of a career and retirement has changed so much, I think, just in a generation. And one thing I will tell you from the career side is there is a gentleman that did a PBS special on retirement. His name is Tom Hegna, depending on how you want to say it. And he said the optimal retirement really is a hybrid retirement. So on one hand, you have your 401k plan, you have any annuity, guaranteed incomes coming in, you have maybe a pension from work, Social Security. Mm-hmm. That's that income money coming in. But then what are you going to do with your life? Because if you are too sedentary, you're going to, like a piece of old farm equipment, you're just going to rust in the field. So to maintain some passion, to maintain activity and get involved either on a voluntary basis or really work part-time for an organization that you believe in. And I really think that's really an important thing and something I'm excited about. And honestly, when people ask me the question, when are you going to retire? I say, I'm not going to. Right. I don't want to. Even though I'm relatively sedentary right now, I don't want to live a retirement where I do nothing and just sleep on the sofa. And so the concept of a career later in life is really important.
Right, and it doesn't surprise me that gentleman said that. As a matter of fact, when I look at it, my new book is coming out probably in April, and the title of the book is Purpose or Passion, Which Comes First? I love asking the question because then I won't just tell people the title. I'll say, what do you think?
Right.
And right away they go, oh, what do you mean? And they got to think a little, and I'm going, well, that's a really important question.
Right.
Especially when you talk about getting towards the final third of your life, and you're talking about you may retire where you don't have to work anymore. And that's why I always ask the question, if you didn't have to make money, what would you do? And a lot of people look at me funny, and I'm going, you really have not thought about that? If you did a great job in retirement planning, how cool would that be that I could do something I don't have to make money at it? What would I do? So one of the clues that I work with people on, you got to brainstorm. What are the things that you're passionate about? What are the things that get you excited? What are the things that actually just get your motor revved up?
Right.
Because if you don't do that, and you retire, and if you ever look at the people who have studied people who retire, how long they live after, mm-hmm. That's when they don't live long after that. If they're not involved in something that they're passionate about, and I like to draw the distinction between purpose and passion. Purpose is the purpose of why you're on this planet, and if you've not scratched the surface of that,
right,
and you don't know what that is, really one of the keys is to find out what are you passionate about, because that's going to lead you to that purpose question. I mean, the answer to purpose.
And I think, Matt, today when I ask people, well, when you're going to retire, what are you going to do in your spare time? Like, spare time, I have less time now than I've ever had in my life. Right. And I love that answer, although I kind of thought it was a cop-out before when I used to hear it. And I was saying, I had said to you before, Matt, that back when I bought a new car back in the 80s, I thought it was so cool and so awesome. I was, all by myself in this Jeep CJ7. Mm-hmm. And when I bought it, I saw them everywhere. It wasn't, there's still the same number of Jeeps out there, but my sensitivity to seeing them increased because I owned one. And I think that these conversations we're having with people in Glenview and the North Shore in our own community, it's not that this is something new. It's just going on. We just didn't know it until it started happening to us. Again, I had 3 friends of ours, pass away since January 1st, 2019. So the concept of my own mortality is beginning to slap me upside the head. And just let me give you one quick tidbit, and that is in terms of retirement and Social Security. You want to talk to a financial advisor, a wealth manager, to ask him how to optimize your Social Security, because hypothetically, if you're at age 62, and again, hypothetically, you can draw $1,000 a month from Social Security, by waiting until you're 70, you can get perhaps 30 to 32% more on a monthly basis. By waiting from age 62 to 70 before you start collecting Social Security, not in every instance, but in most instances, your monthly income will go from $1,000 a month to almost $1,400 a month. Now, there's no benefit of waiting after you're 70 and a half, but before then, that window is really important. So don't take Social Security too early. Try to have that hybrid retirement that we're talking about, where you can live on pension or 401k assets, your savings. Then when you turn 70, get this Social Security payment coming in.
And it's always good to probably check in with an expert, someone who's in that financial field like Bill, or anybody that actually works in that retirement world, because you don't want to be that one instance where it is okay to retire earlier than you would have instead of waiting, because there are instances where it can go either way, from what I understand.
Yes.
So don't be afraid to ask that question, because again, these arenas are all connected, and quite honestly, if people are struggling in one of those arenas because of something that's happening in their life, I always call them icebergs. When I start my coaching sessions with people, I say, "What's going on in your world?" And they usually tell me one thing, and that iceberg pops up. And then when I look at that iceberg, it's always connected to 2 or 3 other arenas, which is where people become paralyzed, because all of a sudden, if you're talking about retirement or not having enough money, that can affect your family, your mental arena.
Everything.
It really affects pretty much everything. And wouldn't it be cool if you were doing something during that time that you were passionate about?
Yes.
One of the tests that I have is I ask the question, what's the thing that you do that when you do it, time completely disappears? And that's a good question to ask yourself. And a lot of times people are going, let me think about that. There's something that everyone does where all of a sudden time will completely disappear. And if it is, that's the thing that's going to tie you to purpose in your career.
So Matt, in terms of the career, would you say that there's anybody you admire that has been able to transform their life to have a very elegant, passion, purpose-filled second career or second chance? Like, who is your model, if anybody, that you know of? And if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, who do you think is doing it right?
That's a good question. As I go with the people that I talk to in my coaching, I can't give their names, but as I talk about some of the people that are doing that, it's interesting. They're coming to me because they haven't figured out what is the one thing they're trying to do, or what, they just can't believe that they're at this age and they haven't. When I ask that question about what would you do, they don't have a good answer to that. The people that have answers for that are the people that I admire, because then they're actually doing stuff that is really important to them. They don't have to make money at it necessarily.
Right.
Interestingly enough, when that happens, they do make money at it.
Right.
Which I always find interesting, that a lot of times it's like, if there's something you love to do, there's someone out there who makes a living at it.
Yes.
And if you don't believe me, just go Google that person, or go to Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those places, and you'll find somebody who's making a pretty good living at doing what you love to do, no matter what that's going to be. I'll have to give it some more thought about some people that I say, it's interesting. If someone gets the idea of elephant hunting, they really understand it, and they say, I don't need that anymore, then they really don't understand it. Because if you think you've done it all, you may not have even touched the surface of this elephant that's behind us right here, my buddy.
Right.
Because that's what happens. Usually, a lot of times you give birth to an elephant when you're connecting with something that you're passionate about. And when you give birth to it, you look under the table and go, what the heck is that? Right. That's what you just gave birth to. And then you say, now what do you do with it?
Right.
Well, a lot of times, if you're retired and you haven't, are you willing to spend the time on? I mean, look what we're doing here. This is something that, as it's starting to take off, we could make careers out of it to actually be doing nothing but this. And you know what? you have to answer the question, do you want to?
Right.
That's really our question. That's what our question to you is, and that's what we have to figure out if we want to keep doing this.
Yeah, and I think, in general, both of us, you being more in healthcare, but at the same time, some financial services, I would say, and the insurance side. Certainly me as a former floor trader at the Chicago Board of Options Exchange and being a wealth manager, I'm in financial services. And we really got into this business, at least I did, because I wanted to help people, right? I spent every day on the trading floor defending myself against the really big Wall Street firms. Every day they would try to stick it to me like you can't imagine. And I remember saying to myself, I was in the trading pit, there's like 400 people surrounded, I'm squished. And I said, dear God, if I ever get out of this trading pit, I'm going to start a business that puts client interest first, because it's too draining having to defend myself every single day against the bigger firms. And yes, those are the firms that brought you the financial crisis of 2008. Thank you very much. But I don't want to name any names just for liability issues, but I think you guys know who I'm talking about.
Well, you're bringing up a really good point. So what you explored in going through that exercise is you were exploring really and truly who's the ideal person Bill wants to be within your career arena.
Right.
And unless you answer the question, which you really got down to serving other people,
right.
Me, I'm a trusted advisor in the insurance world for health insurance for small business owners. I'm very good at it. I don't love it, but I'm very good at it. Now, if you want to talk to me about finding your purpose in life, that's where time disappears for me.
Right.
And when I get in that conversation with people, they love when I talk about that, because what I'm actually bringing out of them is what they're passionate about, and they'll talk as long as there's no, time disappears, so they want to talk about it.
And I think almost everybody that we're going to be talking to and interviewing in this the final third of life episodes, everybody's on their second or third career, which I think is really interesting, because in 1977, when I graduated high school, I wanted to be a TV tube repairman. I wanted to fix TV sets. And I pivoted from a TV tube repairman to a runner at the Board of Trade, to a floor trader at the Options Exchange, to a trader at the Chicago Board of Trade, and then an upstairs risk manager and a trader, and now wealth manager and investment advisor. So I've been pivoting my entire career. And now I find myself very interested in Bitcoin and blockchain technology. I think that's going to be transformative technology, even more than the internet in many respects. So what the internet has done for information and media, blockchain and Bitcoin is going to transform in financial services. So our industry is not going to look in the future what it looks like today. And
the thread that stayed through all that, Bill?
Yes.
If you actually look at it, the thread for Bill is this issue of serving. How do I actually get... What you want to do is you want to get out there and serve these people. When you pivot, when you share, when you do the things you do, that's the thing that if you don't write that down and really define it, how do you know you're even doing it anymore?
Right.
And right now, as you continue on that path, and that's why I think people do pivot. It took me 58 years to figure out my purpose for being was to help other people figure out why they're on this planet. And now when I do that, I'm going, oh my goodness, if I never discovered that, now it doesn't matter if I don't make money at that. I think I can make it. There's people that do make money at that, and because of my passion for it, I know I am. With the new book coming out, it's going to happen. But and I like to coach people through it, and I have a formula on how do you get there. And the formula is really very simple. But it's how do you eat an elephant, Bill?
One bite at a time.
That's how you do it. That's why I love that, and that's why in the final third, there's many things that we break into little pieces. That project, whatever it's going to be, and that's how you get it into your life. Right.
All right, well, thank you again for joining us on episode 8 of the final third. I'm Bill Ulivieri of Senecal Capital Management. You can contact me at info@senecalcapital.com, or you can call me at 847-686-4800. And Matt?
And this is Matt Berrafato, and you can reach me at, this is Matt Berrafato, the Elephant Hunter. You can reach me at matt@elephanthunting.net. Phone would be 847-757-2467 as well. So please reach out. Let us know what topic you want us to talk about.
Ask us questions. Send us a Facebook message, email, leave a message, phone call, whatever it takes. And then get us your questions. Let us know what topics are important to you, and we'll track down someone who can answer those questions.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
All right, Matt. Thanks.
Till next time.
Till next time.